let me start with something slightly more specific. This is an extremely stratified society. And Mahabharata is talking of an India which is very diverse. If you look at the enumeration of the kings and the principalities which join in the Mahabharata war at Kurukshetra, that itself reads like a census report. Now, this enormous diversity is not only there, the actors are always crossing the borders of that diversity. On the one hand, you talk of Kshatriyas and somebody being a Sutaputra, the status damages that arise out of that, and so on and so forth. On the other hand, you are going and marrying somebody from amongst the demons. You are going and marrying a woman from an altogether different kingdom who doesn't even speak your language, has no access to your world, and so on and so forth. This is happening all the time. You are crossing boundaries every moment. Does that have anything to tell us? And do you think your book has been enriched by that fact?
Yes, I think that's a very good question. And there is always, the Mahabharata is not just a census, but it is also an encyclopedia. It kept getting expanded over time as the centuries went by. And you can see the influences that came of Vaishnavism when Krishna went from being a god with a small g to the god with a big G. And you have the influence of the Buddha. I think the influence of the character of Yudhishthira was definitely influenced by...
Must be in the Shanti Parva.
Yeah, Shanti Parva, as well as in the Vana Parva.
Vana Parva too.
Yes, that you can see the ideals of, and therefore the Hindu, the Dharma Shastras had to recognize, including Manu Samriti, they recognized the place of Sadharan Dharma, which was more akin to the Buddhist idea of the conscience and the Ahimsa and Satya and all that emphasis, in place of Swadharma, which is your caste dharma, etc.
That's fascinating. This is the concept of an open text. Open Shastra, not only open text but open Shastra. In some sense, if you put it alongside the fact that the vernacular Mahabharatas, the Mahabharatas in different languages of India, are so radically different from the Sanskrit Mahabharata, it, I think, adds to extremely open-ended scriptural context.
Correct.
And do you think it has had an impact on Indian consciousness and Indian social self?
Well, I agree with what Sukh Sankar, who was the editor of the critical edition at the Bhandarkar Oriental Institute. He made the critical edition from 1920 to 1971, over 51 years. He said that the Mahabharata is our collective unconscious. It is us. And I think what he means is that we cannot escape it. That somewhere it penetrates into our lives. And what I find, Ashish, as you and I, two secular persons, that this idea that we do not teach the Mahabharata in our schools to children or in our colleges to our youngsters, I find that something that we are losing an opportunity. If Italian children can read Dante and Greek children can read the Iliad and Milton can be read by English children in school, why should we feel shy about teaching the Mahabharata? And it goes back.
Mahabharata is taught every day. Manmohan Desai, before his death, once said, all my films are ultimately based on the Mahabharata. No? And one would not dream that his films are based on the Mahabharata, given their storyline, given their modern setting, and so on and so forth. Given their song and dance numbers too. You can perhaps also say that some of the greatest contemporary writings have been inspired by the Mahabharata directly or indirectly. So Mahabharata is all around us. In fragments, it is within us and outside us.
I agree with you.
So in some
But
sense, you don't have to teach them. Maybe if you teach them and convert it into school text or college text, they might lose that capacity.
I would like young people today. You see, it's only really from the 19th century that the word dharma became the word for religion. Before that, I mean, it was actually the Christian missionaries who first used this, that the Christian Isai dharma is the true dharma. That was, and it happened in Bengal. And I think we should go back to the old idea of dharma as duty, as right and wrong, and not get it confused with the religious meaning of dharma.
Oh yes, that is because the concept of religion is so very different in this part of the world.
So the reason why our secularists are afraid of going into dharma, teaching the Mahabharata, is because they say it's a religious book. It's got gods in it. But so does the Iliad have gods. Milton has a lot of gods. Dante has gods.
I want to ask you at the end a simple question. I want to go back to the issue of the heroes. Why do you think over the last few decades we find fewer and fewer persons talking of Arjuna as the hero of Mahabharata?
Well, this is ironic, Ashish, because Indian mothers every third child is named Arjun, and nobody calls their children Yudhishthir. However, you do find a lot of Karans in recent times, especially amongst NRIs. They love the name Karan. But I think this is it. Mahabharata is got multiple heroes. The feminists will choose Draupadi. The heroic, valorous types will choose Arjuna. And women love Arjuna. So he's a hero of women. And
the feminists should like Kunti.
Yeah, she's
one who has chosen her as a possible symbol of feminist.
In fact, Satyavati also.
Satyavati too.
The Mahabharata women are feisty.
Incidentally, if I may say so, on the whole, Mahabharata women are more powerful than the Mahabharata men, if you think of it.
And that may be true of India today, that the women are more powerful than the men. And there's something to be said for our culture. Thank you.
I enjoyed it. I thank you very much.